What's going on, people? It's Mr. Dore back again with another podcast, but this is a special podcast. If you're new to my channel, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and comment below. We have got the legend himself. What can I say? The ex top scorer for Nottingham Forest, the man himself, Bryan Roy. How you doing, Bryan?
I'm fine. Good to hear the Nottingham slang again.
Who talks better, me?
East in Midland way of English talking.
If no one knows this is the guy Bryan Roy. People in the 90s will remember Bryan Roy. He was the top scorer in the Premier League, but now Chris Ward has took over him. So he's a bit. How do you feel about it, Bryan? Chris Ward taking over your Premier League top scorers. How do you feel about it?
It was getting a bit silly. I already told you. I mean, come on. It's how many years ago?
94.
I mean,
30 years ago.
30
years ago.
And I was glad that it got broken, because that means that Forest is getting back to where it belongs.
Yes, 100%.
That's the most important thing. And
100%.
I already told before that Forest has a legacy. When you win 2 European Cups in a row in the 70s with great football, Brian Clough, you should never lose that. You should always build on that culture of playing football and mentality. And somewhere along the line they lost it, but Frank Clark took it back. And that's also not strange, because he was part of that team as well and had Brian Clough as a coach. And already working with Frank Clark and his vision about how we should play together. And it was a bit Clough-ish.
Ish.
Clough-ish, that's it. And that was also the reason why he wanted me to come to Forest. And I think for him, that missing link between midfield and striker, in between Stan and the midfielders. And that's where Forest started looking as Nottingham Forest again, only for 2 years, and then we lost it again. And Forest should be and should stay always in the position, the first 6, 7 in the league, as where they are now. That's a must, because we owe it to the supporters. It would be the same thing as that Ajax would relegate.
Yeah.
Sorry, same thing.
Yes. Bryan, as you know, Walsh, Steve, and Des are here. Like I said, they've never met you before, and they've got a lot of questions to ask you. People in the chat as well. Any comments they want to ask Bryan Roy, make him a super chat if you can, people. So, so Des or Steve, who wants to go first? Who wants to get the questions in first? Des or Steve?
Go on, Steve. You go first.
Go on, Steve. Ask away.
Okay. Okay. I know my personal favourite goal you scored, because I started supporting Forest around the time 95, 96. So it was up to 30 years. So one of the first games I remember is beating Wimbledon 4-0. I think you scored in the back heel. Bit of a cheeky goal.
It was a cheeky goal.
My question is to you: what was your favourite Forest goal and why?
What's the first one?
What's your favourite goal?
What's your favourite
goal? Your favourite goal? Your favourite goal?
My favourite goal was the first one against Ipswich Town away, because it was my first game.
Great goal.
It was my first game, and quality-wise, it was very difficult. And emotionally wise, that goal was so important to score on your debut. And that gives you leverage straight on to the supporters, and for yourself. You start with a goal, and that helped me a lot to help myself fit into the team and the city and everything. So that first goal, that was my favorite, and not at least because it was a difficult goal. It was not an easy goal.
It was. I think there's
With Dennis Bergkamp.
you're betting than Dennis Bergkamp. I'll say.
No.
Des, you go next.
Yeah, I was just thinking of my favourite Brian Roy goal for Forest, and obviously the Ipswich one and the Wimbledon one come to mind. But my favourite was the one you scored against Malmo at the Trent End.
Oh yeah.
Where you were you were falling off balance and you kind of found it into the top corner, and it was so important, and it lifted the roof off the place. You remember that one?
Yeah, I remember that. I get goosebumps as well because it was a very important goal. Also because we needed one goal to go through.
It was quite late, wasn't it? Quite late.
It was a bit late, and it was also a good goal, but it was important. And that season, we reached the quarterfinal against Bayern Munich, and that was a difficult match. We did everything to try and beat them, but they were too good. But to answer your favorite goal, that was a good goal as well.
Yeah, and just a question about that European adventure. Obviously, we were singing at the time one club in Europe because we were the last team in England in Europe. And in that first game against Bayern Munich, I felt, just remembering back, I've not seen it for a long time, but we played much better in the first leg and could have got a result. We had lots of chances and didn't put them away, and then they kind of overrun us a bit in the second leg, didn't they? Did yourself and the guys feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity?
Well, to be fair, it's a long time ago, but in the first leg, you were right. We should have made more out of our chances, and we should have had a better result away, because at home the pressure was high. And it's still Bayern Munich with Lothar Matthäus. I guess Jürgen Klinsmann was still there as well. I don't know.
They had a great team, Brian. They had a great team.
Mehmet Scholl. And I had a very big chance also in the first half where I couldn't get behind the ball good enough, but that was at the 5-yard box. Or maybe just outside against Oliver Kahn, was it? Was it Oliver? Yeah, Oliver.
Yeah, Oliver Kahn.
Yeah, and that one I should have scored, but reaching the quarterfinals in the Europe. That was European. That was Champions League, eh?
Yeah,
it was Champions League, eh? Was a good result because we didn't have Stan then as well, eh?
Yeah, we didn't have Stan. No,
we didn't have.
He left by then, didn't he?
He played for Liverpool then. So with that team, also the second season with Forest, we did quite well. Because without Stan, it was a big difference. When we would have played another year with Stan and the whole team.
Brian, like I said, when you played for Nottingham Forest, there's quite a lot of good players, like Ian Woan, Steve Stowe, Scott Gemmell, David Phillips, Steve Chettle. There's always everyone has a group. What in that time? What was your group at that time? Who did you hang around? Who did you talk to more?
Ian
Woan.
Yeah, Ian and me, we got along very well.
He said it. He did say. We mentioned your name. Wait, question, right? I spoke to Ian, right, and I said to him, "Who teach you to dance?" And he went, "Brian Roy." And did you teach him? Because I said to him, he cannot dance. He's useless.
Well, I don't remember. I don't know. But once in a while, we had a pint together with the team, and we went to the Black Orchid or something.
Black Orchid.
Black Orchid.
wait. Have you got any stories? Because I've spoken to quite a lot of voice players about that. Have you got any stories for
I've
that?
got no stories.
None that I've been told on here.
Yeah,
No, really, I don't know.
that's
The only
after 9 o'clock, and it's after the watershed, is it? Yeah.
the only thing I know, and I remember, is that going out with a bunch of English lads and guys is the best thing you can do.
Yes.
I don't experience. I haven't experienced that same energy in Germany, not in Italy. Yeah, and in Holland, in Holland it was different because I grew up with the players in the U team at Ajax, and we went to the first team together. So that's a different thing. But how do you call it? The English humor, and I've never have loved so much inside and outside the dressing room as in England. It's unbelievable.
Who was the? I've got an idea. Who was the biggest character amongst them all? The one that springs to my mind is Big Norm.
Yeah, Big Norm. Yeah. He was really he was so nice. He's such a decent character, and his sense of humor was unbelievable. Was
Right.
unbelievable. But what I remember from him, decent and nice, always friendly, always friendly.
Steve, your turn.
So during the week, I got a Spurs mate, right, and Tottenham. And I told him about this podcast tonight, and he told me to pass a message on that there was a game back at White Hart Lane. And if memory serves me corrected, I think we won 4-1. And he did say to pass a message on saying there was a goal. I think he scored 2 goals in that game.
Yeah.
And one of them, you happened to end up behind the goal and you were walking around the back of the goal. And he said he's never been to a game where actually Spurs fans were clapping him, were applauding him. He did throw a bit of a boost at you, which I won't repeat on this channel. But joking aside, he said that game, to be fair, you absolutely destroyed Spurs. I'm not making this up now. He did say, Jenny, one of the best performances he said he saw from an away side as an away player.
Yeah.
He said you were very good that game. Does that game, do you remember much about that game and the goal and the celebration and the?
I always played good White Hart Lane. Always.
We had a good record back then against Spurs, didn't we? We seemed to go through this period where we were a bit of a bogey side for Spurs, and I remember the FA Cup game as well. Where coming back to Mark Crossley, where we went on pens and he ran the full length of the field down the Klinsmann, which he barely went a yard, did he? He didn't slide that much. But does that game? Do you remember much about that game? That 4-1.
That was one of my best games. Not only the 2 goals, but overall.
You said you were. Yeah.
The team.
Yeah. Steve Storm was on fire as well.
We were very good, and Spurs had a good team as well. Very good team, but I already told Ben before the streaming live stream. We had a good team, really, and you look at the back four, with Steve Chettle and Stuart Pearce and Des Little. Yeah, Colin Cooper. Colin was a good defender.
Yeah, great defender.
Colin was a great defender.
Steve Chettle was my best defender for Forest. Yeah, Steve Chettle.
Well, those 2 guys were one of the most underrated players in the Premier League in those times. Really. And then in midfield you had Lars Bohinen and Scotty Gemmell. So we played, and that's what I needed behind me to serve Stan and to make sure that I could get in good positions. But that game against Spurs when we won 1-4, I scored 2, and Stan scored also a great goal. It was one of our best games ever.
Des?
I was just thinking there. Obviously, you mentioned at the start about you mentioned playing in front of those two in midfield and playing behind Stan, and you mentioned about the Forest following that Clough tradition and playing a certain way and keeping us up at the top. When you signed for us, it come a bit out of the blue. It was a big signing. We didn't sign foreign players then. We've been in the lower leagues. What convinced you to sign for Forest? Of course, you mentioned Frank Clark and Bryan Clough.
Alan Hill.
Alan Hill.
Alan Hill.
Love him.
Brilliant.
Love Alan Hill.
It was at the Euros 90. No, the World Cup after the World
The
Cup.
World Cup in America, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And my agent told me that Forest was interested, and I immediately thought, wow, that's an honor. But I didn't know that you were relegated at that time and that you just went up. But I had always a sweet spot for Forest due to the fact that I won 2 European Cups and Bryan Clough. So there was something romantic for me in that. And I knew also, because in Italy I watched Sky Sports a lot. And there I already saw that the Premier League was buzzing. It was unbelievable. And then I said, yeah, why not have a talk? And then they invited me to come over. And then Alan Hill took me from the airport, and we went to this restaurant in the park. This Chinese, so good Chinese, unbelievable. In the
Did you pay? Did you pay?
Mr. Mans.
Mr. Mans.
Mr. Mans.
That was something unbelievable. It was so good. And then there I met with Frank Clark. Frank came over there, and I think also the chairman. And then we had something to eat, and and I remember getting off the airport, stepping into the car up to Nottingham. I was looking around, and I had something like, this is unbelievable. Then the countryside and everything so green, and the hills. It was beautiful. You don't have that in Holland because
don't have any hills in Holland, do you?
No, but and also I think the East Midlands is a beautiful part of England, country-wise. And that already stunned me. And then I had a very good talk with Frank, and I had already immediately a good energy with him. So, based on that meeting, we agreed already.
Great stuff.
And then the next day we had contract talk, zeg maar. And that was in the hotel. And then that's a good story. We were in a hotel at that time. What was the Crown Plaza? Was
yeah, still there. Still there.
Yeah, and I sat in the room with my manager, Rob Jansen, the same as Dennis Bergkamp, and all of a sudden, Rob's phone Close off, and he is, I think, 2 or 3 minutes on the phone, and he shuts the phone down. He said, "Do you know who that is, Brian? Who that was, Brian?" Well, I don't know. Rune Hauge. And Rune Hauge was then very close with Arsenal.
Mm.
And then Rob said, "You have to decide now. Or we stop negotiating now, and we're going to listen to Arsenal as well.
Mm.
Or we keep on negotiating." And there I said, "Listen, I cannot listen. Arsenal, beautiful club, everything top. But I already gave my word."
Was it Alan Hill? Did Alan Hill push it?
No. Alan Hill was not there anymore.
Oh, it wasn't there.
It was the board of Forest and my manager and me.
Mm.
But we already had a verbal agreement, and only the details should be negotiated. But I tell you now, 9 out of 10 players now, they hang up. They said, "I stopped negotiating. I go to Arsenal." This is a true story.
Mm.
I said, "No, I gave my word. We're not going to change."
Great stuff.
People, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you do, and if you've got any questions for Brian, please do. And like I said, any super chats to help my channel, it would be a great help as well. And we've got Man City as well, so we'll talk to Brian about Forest as well right now, about on his memories. Who's next?
1 second.
Okay. So right to Brian. Let's say right. People in the chat, I've got a poll. Who's going to win Forest or Man City? I'll get Des and Steve's score prediction in a minute now, while Brian does whatever he's doing. Brian, everyone talks about that fantastic partnership with Stan Collymore. Tell everyone what was it like, because me, Steve, and all the Forest fans in that time, we thought, what a partnership, great partnership. Just tell everyone what was it like.
Yeah, it's so, it's so, it never bores, eh? It never bores. Even to me, it never bores, because it was such a joy. It was such a joy playing with him up front, and he was our most important player. He was our goal scorer. So I did everything to make sure that he would get in the best position, because normally I always played at the left side at Ajax, or at Foggia. I always played left and Foggia, or left or right. And it was the first time I played in the middle of the park. That worked out from day one. And also on a personal level, we still had very good acquainted and very good in touch with each other. Yeah, it clicked. And yet, what's really important to know, of course, as well, is because, Stan was already a handful up front for the two defenders, and then you have me dropping off. They went crazy. They didn't know what to do. Opponents. And that's the whole team was. We had a very good team, because at left and right with Ian Woan and Steve Stone, they were very good. Stevie was a very good player, and Ian Woan. And after Ian Woan, in my time, you had Richard Witsche at Ajax. I played in the youth with him. The left back was also unbelievable. He went to Barcelona with Johan Cruyff in those days. But Ian was even better.
I know that. I love Ian Woan, Brian. I love Ian. Everyone in the chat knows I love Ian Woan. So keep going. He
gave me balls sometimes that I thought, well, does he see this? Does he really see it? Boom! So he is a big part of the success of Stan and me up front, because and Stevie as well. The four of us as strikers, let's say, that was that's why we ended up third with the defense as well.
Steve?
Yeah, well, I felt at the time, because like I touched on earlier, I was just starting to support Forest. I felt that Collymore left too early. My personal opinion, I felt if he had stayed another season, I know Liverpool put big money in for him, 8.5 million, I think he went for, which at that time was big money. I do you feel that I think you touched on it earlier about the European adventure and stuff. Do you think that if Collymore had stayed for let me get the season right now, the 95-96 season, do you think we would have gone further in that competition with Stan in the team?
Of course, without a doubt. But when Liverpool is interested in you, you go.
Yeah, and 8.5 million was a lot of money back then, wasn't it?
You go, and that's totally understandable.
What was the general feeling in the dressing room when you heard the news of Collymore going? Was it like deflated, or was it kind of like, okay, we regroup now and we just rebuild the team?
For me personally, it was, and looking back at those times. Looking back at those times, it was. My first feeling was, wow, shit, because he was very important for me. Very important, because he made so much space for me, because he always had two players with him, two defenders with him. So he made his way of his movements and his presence gave me more room in midfield, definitely. So for me, it was very disappointing to hear, but totally understandable. When Liverpool wants you, you go. Without, and if it's too early or not, that doesn't matter. But anyway, when he would have stayed another year,
because I think did Lars Bohinen leave as well?
And Lars left as well.
Yes.
Yeah. You were the Blackburn, didn't you?
He was Blackburn.
I don't know why he left. It's so.
Desmond know.
Some strange things happened, and one of the Lars Bohinen was also one of our best players.
Yeah, very underrated.
Lars Bohinen was my favourite at the time. I was only young, but he was
one of our.
When you guys didn't do it, he picked up the pieces with a 30-yard rocket, and he put one in the top goal. He left because he had a strange clause in his contract, didn't he? Which allowed him to leave if somebody matched a certain value, and then somebody just offered him a lot of money because he was
salary wise.
Yeah, because he was worth a lot more than Blackburn paid. They could give him a lot of money on top.
Oh, that was it.
But I think now, if you see Lars Bohinen sort of on Twitter and around social media, he kind of thinks as Forest as his club in England.
Nice.
We're the team he tends to support and follow.
Nice to see. Because we had a great. I had a great season with Lars, and also a very nice guy. We had a good group. The energy in the group was fantastic. No rotten pieces or whatever. Nothing. No one.
People, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you know. As you know, Bryan, like I said, you was last time to be in that team in the UEFA Cup under the Frank Clark, amazing team. Right now, as you know, Forest are third. It's amazing for us fans watching this. What's your feelings on it? Because we touched it before we started. A certain Chris Wood has took your record.
I'm happy.
So, how you feel about it?
I'm happy. It brings Forest forward. and it was getting silly because I'm not even a goal scorer, and then me as a top goal scorer of Forest, that shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case. It should have been Stan Collymore, for example, But okay, I had good seasons at Forest, okay, but for Forest, this is the best thing that can happen, and I'm happy. Even my kids are happy.
Are they?
my son is watching every game.
Love it. Love it.
Every game. I'll bet you tomorrow morning. Hey, Dad, against City tomorrow. Really? It's so nice. And he's born in Nottingham. Eh?
Was there? How old is he? How old is he?
He's 29.
Okay.
He's born in Nottingham.
Same age as Des.
Is he a Forest fan then?
Yeah, he's a Forest fan. And
Great.
So I hope to attend one of the games this season still. Otherwise, next season.
Who's been the standout player? I said you watched Forest. Who's been your standout player? Why this season for Forest?
This season?
Yes.
The number 10. What's his name again?
Morgan Gibbs White.
Morgan Gibbs White.
Yeah. I like him. I like him as a player.
Any traits from yourself? I know you're different type of players, but
yeah, definitely. The only thing what he needs to learn is he runs too much. He runs too much. He runs too much. He's too eager, and the less you run, the better you get in positions. That he needs to learn, and the more energy the more energy you have to finish good, and that's all out of enthusiasm. He wants to work hard because he works off the ball. His work rate is unbelievable. But when he learns when to stay in those pockets even more and be patient in pockets and then turn or make combinations, then he's going to score more and be more decisive.
I've said on this channel a lot, Bryan, to Dore, I feel with Gibbs White, we need him another 10 yards further up the pitch.
Yeah.
We need the midfield doing their job and getting the ball to him quicker, and you'll see Forest go to another level. I've been saying that for the last 2 years. Obviously, we have gone to another level, but I think there's another step if we can get Gibbs White popping up in the penalty area a lot more on the edge of the box. You get a lot more from him.
You are very clever because this is the reason.
Wait, hey, Bryan.
This is the reason.
No. Don't call him clever. Don't call him clever.
Don't put his ego.
This is the reason, but the difficulty is, the 4 defenders and the 2 midfielders in front. You need to know what you do in ball possession, and that's where the coach comes in. And but nowadays the Premier League is so strong; it's very difficult to play ball possession. It's more difficult. So now then the quality of the coach comes in. That's why Dutch coaches are always so good. And I see where that problem is. I see that problem, but yeah, I'm sitting here. and still, it's a Dutch thing. Ball possession is a Dutch thing.
Yeah, Ajax, especially Ajax.
Ajax. Look at AZ Alkmaar against Tottenham Hotspur. Ball possession is our thing.
Can I ask a question on that? Because one of my big sort of concerns for Forest, and I'm like a stuck record with it, is getting the number 6 role right. Of course, we signed Sangare from the Dutch League, who's not quite worked out at the moment. I just wondered what your thoughts were on Sangare.
Even at PSV, it didn't work out.
Did it not?
It's very easy. Look at how Rodri is playing that role. Look how the boy from the Dutch boy at Liverpool plays that role.
Gravenberg.
Yeah, that's what Forest lacks. That's why Morgan Gibbs White is not playing more of that pitch. That's the reason. And I like that small Portuguesian guy, that midfield. He works hard, but he can play well. But you need a number 6 who is very good at the ball, playing balls forward. You look at Gravenberg, who he tries to play forward. And you need a guy like that. But Sangaré, even at Ajax, he didn't do. At PSV, they were happy to get rid of him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was not disciplined enough in this role.
Wow.
And so in positioning wise and on the ball, it was not good enough.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Because you know what it is, Brian? You know what it is? I'm going to clip it. You know what it is, Brian? Because he comes to Forest 35 million, and everyone has his opinion about him. He's had his injuries, and he had went to AFCON as well, and we expect him to be this player who can just like do this. But what that's what I'm like.
He wasn't that at PSV neither. There's a presence. He is strong and he can win balls at the right time. But in possession, no, he's not going to do it for you.
Wow.
No. That was already at PSV.
That's just really sort of interesting to all of us, because it's something we've been discussing for a long time, and when we look at the team at the moment, if there is an area where we're not sure, it's in the middle of midfield. The two guys, there's 4 or 5 players who could play within those two positions, and we're really not sure on what the best combination is and who plays
for
in
next
there.
season. Then when they need to, that's a challenge. That's going to be a big challenge to get good players in those two midfield positions. Who will make the difference?
That's very interesting to say. Like, so it's been a debate for 2 years, Brian. Really debate, and like, so every time a player represent Forest, we want them to do well. It's not like
of course
we want to. We're not going to.
When you have got 2 players in midfield who can play also always forward, then Gibbsy White plays more forward up the pitch, and you got 2 great wingers. Hey, that's terrific. I'm happy that this coach always plays these 2 wingers at the side, because that makes the play always spectacular and attractive. So the next step is, I think, another striker and those 2 in midfield.
Definitely, 100%. Who's next?
I just appeared there for a minute because I just want to quickly show this. I had this for Christmas, right? If you can see this. This game. I'll try and get on the camera there. The Malmo game.
Is that Kevin? Yeah. Kevin Campbell.
Nice.
That's Kevin Campbell. Yeah.
Kevin Campbell.
My best mate got me this for Christmas, and there's your mug shot is here. Look, if you can zoom in on the camera there. Hang on. There he is.
Yeah. Nice.
You haven't changed.
There's actually, and then he's tussling with a Malmo defender there.
Yeah, nice to see.
Just some of the names on your mind in this squad. It's funny that your profile picture just above you is Holland Senior.
Yeah, Alfie
Holland. Yeah.
So he's a very nice guy as well. He was one of the quickest players I've ever seen. He was so fast.
Really?
I had also a very good thing with him. We always laughed about the English habits. Are they crazy? Are they crazy? He was such a nice guy as well. He was good. He has a very good sense of humor, and he didn't always play, and he was very, he was a good sport, and he was a team player.
Des, you next?
Yeah, just sort of coming back to today, and Forest, we spoke about potential sort of strengthening there of the team. Obviously, we've got Man City tomorrow, and we've got 10 games to go after that. Do you think they can maintain it? Do you think it'll be? I'm sure you will after what you've said, but it'll be brilliant to see Forest in Europe again, in especially Champions
Holland,
League.
Bryan. Come to Holland. Come and visit you.
Yeah, if we get a game in PSV or Ajax or somewhere like that, it'll be amazing for us because we're too young for the European Cup days. But do you actually think it's something that's still possible, considering how things have gone of late, and how tough it gets at the end of a season as a player, I guess?
I think it's going to be very difficult. We need a bit of luck.
Okay.
We need a bit of luck, and I fingers crossed that we can make Champions League football. But a must is European football now, because you cannot give when we don't reach Champions League, okay, but now in this position, you cannot give away that anymore. The way I've seen them play, also saw some awful games, but there is a spirit in that team. When things are right, then they can play. It's nice to see. It's good.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of that second season when we went out of Europe. And we was in the sixth round of the FA Cup, as we are now. We're in the sixth round, and you beat Tottenham in that fifth round game, and then you had Aston Villa at home, and we were still in the cup competitions. We were still doing well in the league, but the season just kind of went away from us at the end, didn't it? And the hope is now it doesn't come to that.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, because this is the most difficult time now. The last stretch is the most difficult time, because pressure is coming as well now. And that was also the good thing in my first year. The second part of the season, the last part, we were flying. We were still flying. The people thought, of the media thought, well, they're not going to keep up. They're not going to keep up. It's impossible. But we kept on flying based on quality, and that's the difference with this team. They have they have even more fighting spirit than that we had, because we had way more football in that team, but they have a fighting spirit, and that's what they have to keep on giving 110% every single game, and then they might qualify for Champions League. But the real, the distinctive qualities like Stan and Ian and Steve had, it's not there. That's the difference.
Yeah, 100%.
You need that extra quality every single team. You see in the Premier League now, that extra quality. Look at Manchester United. Who has that extra quality who makes the difference? You need players you need that extra quality, that distinguishedness, that thing that makes you special around the 18 yards box. Who is that at Forest? That's what you need at the final stretch in the season.
100%. Brian, I can speak to you all day. I really can. I've loved you. I think myself, Steve, and Des, and even the people in the chat, people said they've loved listening to you. They can listen to you all day. Like Katie says, this is a lovely bloke. I could listen to him all night.
Oh, nice.
So that's shout out to Katie as well. Party Irish, evening gents, and Brian, the Flying Dutchman, Forest legend as well. David says, yes, agree, Brian. I think everyone's love listening to you, Brian. But like I said, we've got a massive game tomorrow against Man City. Two questions I want to ask. First of all, do you think Forest can get Champions League football, or do you think it's going to be too much? But what do you think? Yes or no? Champions League?
Yes.
Oh, he's going for it. Yes, I'm loving it.
Yes, based on the fighting spirit they have. They are fighters, not based on that extra quality, but they need to, every single game, they have to fight their way through.
Question. One more question, Brian. I'm going to throw Des under the bus because Des says Manchester United will finish above Nottingham Forest. Do you think that could happen?
No.
I didn't say that, Brian.
Yes, you
didn't say that.
But the thing is, I think the media in England is very mild for this coach.
Oh, then why?
Yeah, when this coach would have coached here in Holland, because in Holland they were way more critical than in England, because tactically wise, we're one of the best countries, without a doubt. What's his name again? Amorim.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a clue. He doesn't have a clue at all, and that's very harsh on him. But how can the board of Manchester United pick a coach who is playing 3-5-2 or with 5 defenders? Every single top team in Europe should never, ever play this system. Never. Because you will never, ever win a league. And you will never, ever play attractive football. Never. And that's a must for Man City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Ajax, Real Madrid, Barcelona, everyone. And then it's for me it's something I will never ever understand what's happening now with Manchester United. He don't have a clue. He doesn't even. There were a couple of matches that in midfield they played 3 against 2 the whole game. I don't understand. And the media in England, they don't see that. They don't ask the right questions tactically. In Holland, in Holland, they would have slaughtered him.
Yeah, I feel when PSV lost to Arsenal 7-1, I thought they might sack him the next day. That's how, like you just said, the Dutch press are really, really tough.
And sometimes it's also not fair. But the reason is the legacy of our football is so big. Even journalists have a clue now, really, about tactics. That's in the culture. It's in the culture, and that's due to Johan Cruyff and Louis van Gaal and Rinus Michels. They were technically very strong, and a Manchester United will never end up above Nottingham, or Nottingham, they lose the way completely. The coach, but I don't believe that. I like the coach. I like him.
Yeah. Steve, Des, you got any more questions before we do leave?
just thoughts really on Man City tomorrow. You know, big game at the City Ground. When it was a game like this where it meant so much, those European nights or like the FA Cup quarterfinals and things like that. What was your personal feeling about the atmosphere and the crowd and you know and the people?
When you I think there's not a better atmosphere in the whole Premier League as in at the City Ground, because it's the sound is crazy, and maybe it has to do with the form of the stadium, but it's buzzing. It's always buzzing, and every single time I watch a game, it reminds me of the games I also played in the stadium. And the first time I played in the stadium, and me and Stan needed to take the first, how do you call it, to begin a game.
Kickoff.
The kickoff. Then seconds before the kickoff. And I was like, the first time, it was unbelievable. But it gives you a buzz.
That was Manchester United, wasn't it? Was that Manchester United, that game? Your
Which
first
one?
game at the City Ground. The first game at the City Ground. Didn't we play
with
Ipswich and then Manchester United?
Yeah.
Stan scored quite early on, didn't he?
Yeah. Stan scored. Was a good. Yeah, was a good game. Was a good game.
Yeah, I remember it.
Guys, I had to go.
Oh, right. Last but not least, Bryan, what's your score opinion for tomorrow?
Okay, I'll be very sweet with our club. 1-0.
1-0. I'll take that. Des, what's yours?
We'll take that.
What's yours, Des?
I'll take a draw. I'll take 1-1.
Stay.
1-1.
1-1. I'll take 1-1. I'll take 1-1.
1-0.
Right,
take
people.
1-0.
Bryan, it's been an absolutely pleasure. Thank you very much.
Let's do the same towards the end of the season. We do this again, and then we see
100%.
where we stand with Nottingham. Okay?
100%, Bryan. Thank you very much, Bryan. People, please show some love to Bryan. It's been an absolute pleasure to look at the channel as well. People, I'll see you tomorrow at the City Ground. Me and Des will be there as usual. But people, please show some love to the man himself, the Dutch former top scorer in the Premier League, Bryan Roy. It's been a pleasure, people. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace and love. Up the Forest.
Good luck, eh?